Michael, don't leave me here. Michael, help me.
Oh boy. How's it going, guys? My name is KC and welcome to the sequel to what is currently the most popular video that I've uploaded in the past year. I've been wanting to make this video for a while now, and I figured there's no better time to than now. The Return to Freddy's, The Dreadful, Super Cancerous Truth. We're gonna read some more of it. Remember the first time I read it, that video absolutely blew up and it's still pulling in more views and subscribers as we speak. Like every single time I check my channel's stats and analytics, I always see that video, and so I knew I just had to come back and read some more of it, even though I really don't want to, because why the fuck would I? It's easily one of the worst pieces of text I have ever read in my entire life, and some people made some really good points about it in the comments down below, with how it's a preview to what kind of shit we'd be seeing in the canon FNAF story. Shit like a time-traveling ball pit, plushies that can switch bodies with you, Fazgoo that drains your insides or some shit, and a guy getting possessed by sea monkeys. I think all that shit is way more egregious than a super cancer or a torture device that makes motherfuckers die from head to toe. But I digress, okay? Without wasting any more time, let's get started. If you want to, you can go ahead and watch the first video by clicking the card in the top right corner of your screen. If I recall correctly, I tapped out after chapter 2, where the mob boss, Allison, jumped Gron's family by driving a car and crashing right into them at a high rate of speed, and he somehow walked away from that bitch completely unscathed. Gron's wife died when some goons went into her hospital room and cut off her life support, and then several days later, Gron woke up from his coma, limped over to her lifeless body on the hospital bed, and gave her a nice little passionate goodbye kiss. Now mind you, she had been dead for several days at that point, and for some reason, she wasn't in the fucking morgue where she should have been. Her body stayed in that hospital bed where it probably decomposed a little bit. Now, that's just something I gotta point out. Anyways, Gron sent a note to his oldest kid saying that he's not coming home for a while. And then that kid hears voices in the present box and then goes to open it. And that's it. That's all I remember. So we're gonna read chapter 3 and 4. I haven't even started reading yet, and I can already feel that deadly super cancer virus flowing through my veins just from me opening up the text file from the Game Jolt page. This right here. I'm doing this for you guys, so please destroy that like button. I might have to have my consciousness transferred into animatronic, which is what they were doing in chapter 1, I think, as a cure for the super cancer. Or maybe I should just down that substance that gives you 90% immortality. Maybe I should do that instead. I'll probably do that. But yeah, destroy that like button, please. Make it die from head to toe in a torture suit, all right? Okay, so we just started reading, and right off the bat, we got some bullshit already, okay? Gron went to meet up with his old pal Vincent at Goldie Para Diner. All he could hear were whispers in his head saying the prophecy over and over and over again as he opened the doors. The owner came up to Gron saying, "Hey, Gron, welcome back. I'm sorry to hear what happened to your wife and younger child. I really am sorry to hear this. Is there anything I could do to help you?" Gron replied with, "A drink and maybe some Advil will help. Thanks." Gron then started hallucinating and saw a little boy with a fedora and a blue shirt. It almost looked like him when he was little. But as Gron looked closer, it was him. Gron is hallucinating his younger self. He grabbed his hand and led him towards the back room of the Goldie Para Diner. Vincent saw Gron acting as if he was drunk and then came to help Gron snap into his senses. Vincent grabs Gron and then shakes him, saying, "Gron, buddy, can you hear me? Please snap out of it, buddy." To which Gron then promptly snaps out of it, snaps back to his senses, and his blurry vision begins to stabilize. Gron then cries on Vincent's shoulder, saying, "I'm sorry, Vincent. I don't know what's wrong with me." And then Vincent replies, "Hey, it's okay, buddy. You started acting really strange, and I just want to be sure that my pal is in an A-OK condition." Which he's not. I mean, he just lost his wife and he got fucked up. So I don't know why you think he'd be A-OK. Now, shall we get that drink that you wanted? Gron nodded as they went to get a drink in the Coke dispensers at Goldie Para Diner. On their way there, Gron started having flashbacks of the car accident flash before his eyes, and he started hallucinating again. He sees his younger version of himself holding his hand once again, pulling him towards the back room. Gron then sees the golden Frank Burt suit just sitting there, and the golden kitty Fazcat suit in the Fazbear Inc. manufacturing shipping box. Gron sees his hallucinated younger self grab meat cleavers and then stab it through his own feet and hands as he hangs himself on the wall to bleed. Gron's body moved towards the golden Frank Burt suit, and the whispers in his head saying, "The prophecy," grew louder and louder and louder. As Gron stepped into the torture suit of Golden Frankburt, he looks around for a self-deploy button, and it deploys torture mode, killing him. The suit stabs knives and needles from head to toe, draining his blood and organs inside out for fuel. Gron is dying from head to toe. Vincent then walks in to see this. He yells Gron's name. Vincent then yells for help, and the boss and the employees came to see Gron's body inside of the suit. Gron then comes back to life with the fuel that was provided by his own flesh and blood, making him more violent and aggressive like a wild animal out for prey. Huh? He growls like some sort of zombie and then tries to kill Vincent, but the boss and the other employees pull Gron/Golden Frankburt back and shove him into the metal storage closet. And as they lock it, the boss said, "We must never mention this to anyone." Got it? Am I clear, everyone? As he says this to Vincent and the employees, they all nodded and agreed. There would be no way of explaining such an event to the police. They would think they're completely nuts and potentially drunk. Vincent says, "Gron is a great person. I don't understand what's going on or why any of this is even happening." "Wait, sir. I'll be right back. I just have to run to Gron's house real quick. Something's not right." And as Vincent then goes to Gron's house, he knocks on the door several times, but there's no answer. He then kicks the door down. Then he walks into the living room to see Charles, Gron's oldest son, hung by a noose with slit arms. There was a note underneath the fedora on the floor written in blood saying, "I'm sorry, Daddy." As weeks went by, Goldie Paradiner started losing more and more customers. Things just weren't the same without Gron. Alright, so Gron and his son Charles died from suicide, apparently. That's just the first paragraph of chapter 3. We got 2 people that just died from suicide out of nowhere. What kind of friend is Vincent? He was standing right there when Gron just walked into the Golden Frankburt suit and then got spring-locked and died from head to toe. He was standing right there. What I would have done was just fucking grab him and drag him the fuck out of there. Because he's bugging out, clearly. He's seeing something that I can't see, and he's about to go do something that he's going to regret. So, Goldie Paradiner started losing more and more customers. Things weren't the same without Gron. He was like family in Goldie Paradiner. Police then discovered bloodstains in the hidden bunker, and they opened it up, seeing the limped and slumped over Golden Frankburt suit lying there. They were not going to touch that damn thing, so they left it to rot. They were afraid that it would cause damage or even worse, become a greater threat. Goldie Paradiner was shut down due to the incident that occurred there that the police discovered. I guess they started losing customers because the dead body inside the Golden Frankburt suit was starting to smell like crazy. Customers were smelling that shit and they were not coming there. Somebody even thought that somebody died or some shit, and that's why they had the police over there. That's just what I think is going on. I assume they're unaware of the fact that it can come to life, but being that somebody died in it, that clearly means that it's dangerous and it could very well hurt someone else, and plus there's a body in there, so I mean it's kind of a standard procedure for the police to take the damn thing away as part of an investigation and to see if they can't extract the body from it, and all these motherfuckers would go down for covering up a death. At least I'm pretty sure that's how things would go in real life, but I realize, you know, this isn't real life. It's a quote-unquote novel where common sense is completely non-existent. You know, the smart and logical and realistic thing for the cops to do would be to take it away, but nah, fuck that. Let's just leave it in there. You know, it's a scary animatronic that's got a corpse in it. It's dangerous, so we're gonna leave it in there. Let it continue stinking up the whole restaurant, and dare I say the entire street the building is on. Yeah, that'll work. The owner and the employees had to explain what occurred the day it happened, and law enforcement surprisingly believed them. They can see the violence in that thing just by looking at it. Okay. Are they not going to face charges for trying to cover this shit up, though? Pretty sure that's going to get you in even more trouble, even though it technically wasn't your fault, but trying to cover this shit up is not a good look for you. I mean, yeah, I think they were punished. The place got shut down. I think that's punishment enough. On February 2nd of 1944, Goldie Paradiner soon made its return as Frankburt's Pizza. The owner of Goldie Paradiner wanted to do something different this time around. Instead of using gold bears and bunnies, instead he wanted to use the design of Golden Frankburt and Golden Kitty Fazcat and make them not so golden. So he made designs for them and their own colors. Instead of the bland golden color, they redesigned the suit blueprint since the owner was confused on how to design them. He made the new Frankburt and Kitty Fazcat without even realizing that he was technically making a 40% safer torture suit. As soon as the building was repaired and repainted, Goldie Paradiner made its grand reopening as Frankburt's Pizza. Sadly for the business, due to the previous incident, it didn't become that popular as it was before. The food was stale, quality of the drinks wasn't too great, so a month later, the place got shut down. Damn, that's tough. How long is this chapter? Okay. Another big ass paragraph, a nice big block of text. We're going back to Japan in the Gilbert facility, the rival company to Fazbear Inc. So, the Gilbert facility rival company, Fazbear Inc., was making its way to the top, and they were taking all the credit. They were still continuing with their research project on Save the Kids, saving the kids from that god-awful, that terrible, horrible, no good, very bad, deadly super cancer virus that's also contagious, okay? Ever since the incident of 1943 and Alay's death, the scientists were working on making something where Allay would be alive again. They're trying to bring him back and keep his organic body while at the same time have mechanisms that give him life. The project was questionable whether or not it was going well, but a few moments later, they were working on Allay's revival. The mechanisms fluctuate and go haywire, making Allay come back to life, but as a psychopathic humanoid that wants to tear everyone in its path alive. Awesome grammar, Tyler. 10 out of 10. So the scientists grappled Allay's arms to the hospital bed where he can't escape. They grappled his arm. You mean they strapped him down to the hospital bed? Just say that. And why is it a hospital bed? Why not a laboratory or something? That would be the place that makes the most sense. They feared Allay is this way because something must have happened to the machine for these side effects to happen. The signals and servers within Allay were linked directly to the machine since there was no way to fix the soul transporter without Allay. And since he's in a very aggressive and violent state, he won't help at all with fixing it. And they couldn't control Allay's behavior towards the scientists and everyone in his path. So they had to force him into the testing chamber where he wouldn't escape, or at least have a hard time escaping. On March 20th, 1944, the Gilbert facility needed a night guard to work the night shift. Oh boy. Oh fucking boy, I already see where this is going. They needed their facility to be safe from theft. They assigned one of the scientists to take the night shift and make sure that nothing is taken, hacked, damaged, or anything else inside and out. They need their facility safe from theft. One of the scientists, named Chai Tun, told the night guard Lloyd to take a few mechanical equipments that they had in their store for protection against any harm that might come to him. Lost a couple of brain cells reading that sentence, but it's alright. I still got plenty left. I can do this. I can persevere through this god-awful novel. Chai also guided Lloyd through the computer system above the office, used to block hacks against anonymous hackers that might be using their tech to their advantage. I don't even think computers were that advanced in the fucking 1940s, but okay, go off, I guess. He gave him very vital instruction. Vital. V-I-T-A-L, not V-I-D-A-L. What the fuck? Very vital instructions on what commands to use in the system in case these things were to happen. Chai even warned Lloyd that no matter what they do to prevent the hacks, they can still access patient 20, 48, and 63 systems and take control of them. Chai said that the 3 patients would never do anything to harm anyone. They're good kids, but these hacks can still happen regardless of what we do. The security and encryption in these patients, whatever the fuck they are, it's 10 out of 10 as you can see. It's so highly advanced, so foolproof that literally anybody can come in and hack them. Anybody. Regardless of what they do. Bro needs to be prepared for these things when it does happen. Which I hope dearly that it doesn't, but it's Five Nights at Freddy's. It's gonna happen. Lloyd was guided around the office and Chai said, "This, Lloyd, is our office." Or I'm sorry, it's your office. Well, it's the only office we have. It's a travel pod. Almost like an elevator, only it doesn't travel up and down. It travels in a funnel pipe and goes to several different locations, whether the elevator goes up, down, left, right, or even upside down. Stay in your seat and buckle up when traveling to the 2 other floors at all times to prevent any injuries. Everything in this office is pretty much drilled in place so that the fan doesn't come flying right at you and cause potential damage. We're also going to give you a call every now and then to check up on you. Make sure that you're alright. Sometimes we may not call since we'd most likely be off duty and asleep. Please stay safe, Lloyd, and maintain everything while we're gone. We're depending on you. As the other scientists left the building, Lloyd's night shift started, and at around 3 a.m., things started to not seem right. He checked the retractable camera behind him, saw that everything was okay. However, as he heard a beeping noise, he pulled down the ladder, climbed up the office rooftop area where the computer system was located. He looked at the screen, saw that he was in fact being hacked by an anonymous hacker named FBI-NC. But he knew what to do, so he implemented the code to block the hack that was going towards patient number 20. Patient 20 woke up from his sleep and was scared on why he had no control over his own body. Patient 20 was on his way towards the office to try and kill Lloyd. Now listen, this novel is so fucking mind-numbing that I'm just reading and not actually processing anything that I'm fucking reading. So I have no idea what's up with these patients. Are they animatronics? Are they little kids who had the deadly super cancer virus and they had their bodies, or I'm sorry, their consciousness transferred into the animatronics? That's why they're called patients. Maybe they're androids? Half human, half machine? I don't fucking know. This Gilbert facility, man. I don't know what kind of budget they have, but it can't be that big for the security to be so fucking bad to where anybody can try and hack the shit. And who the fuck is FBI-NC? What is that, like the FBI? Oh. Okay. Okay. So it's Allison, that psychopath that's doing the hacking. So we're in chapter 4 now. In America, Allison had every intention to shut the Gilbert facility down and take on full control of everything. So it wasn't enough that he ran up into Japan in the Gilbert facility, ran their fucking pockets, robbed them, killed the leader and a whole bunch of other scientists, took some of their shit like the 90% immortality drink and some other shit that I forgot. Nope. That wasn't enough. He wants to really get rid of them and finish them off. Even though, you know, his business is making waves, he's taking all the credit and he still wants to just finish them off, even though they're just trying to save some kids from some kind of deadly super cancer virus that's contagious. Anyways, Allison had every intention to shut the Gilbert facility down and take on full control of everything. He tried every single hack that he could think of, and some new ones he created himself to hack into the Gilbert facility systems to kill the night guard. The only way he could shut them down is if a murder was involved by one of their very own creations. It would give them a bad reputation and everything would belong to Fazbear Inc. Allison would get what he wanted. When he had control over Fairy Tale Ty, aka Patient 20, Allison couldn't help but laugh. It's like a flame bursted in his eyes, seeing destruction everywhere he goes. Lloyd said to Patient 20, "Ty, can you hear me? If you can, please hold back for as long as you can." Patient 20, aka Ty, replied with, "I'm trying, but I can't move my own body. Somebody's taking control of it. Please, help me. I don't want to do anything to cause any harm towards people." Lloyd started to panic. Then he went back to the computer system above him. As he rebooted the system, he typed in the code system reset patient 20, core root. Luckily for both Lloyd and patient 20, he stopped moving and blocked the hack coming from... Oh... I get what FBI-NC stands for. Fazbear Inc. FB, Fazbear, and INC, Inc. It's not the FBI, it's Fazbear Inc. It's Allison. Allison said, "So you like playing it that way, do you? How about a little toxicity to make things more exciting?" As Allison accesses the root console and activates the toxic breach, the air vents open up and release very toxic gas into the Gilbert facility. I can't bring myself to take Allison seriously at all. He seems just like a typical mustache twiddling Saturday morning cartoon villain. This shit is so corny. It's hilarious. I'm sorry. So Lloyd activated the toxic gas mask that was part of his mechanical body armor. Oh, but he's got mechanical body armor? When the fuck did he have that? So we're on some Iron Man shit now? Okay, so this shit made it just a little bit harder for him to breathe, but, you know, at least he wasn't prone to the toxins that were breaching into the office. Allison then started hacking into patient 48 and 63's systems. They then started to move, and Allison got access back into patient 20. As Lloyd traveled to floor 3 using the office's tunnel tube traveling system, he went into floor 3's medical room where he would take a pill for a toxic cure, and then another pill for an asthma cure. As he popped the 2 pills, he went back into the office, funneled back to floor 1. Allison had looked through the Gilbert facility's system codes and found another test subject that was labeled Do Not Access. The person's name that was Do Not Access due to a failed experiment was Allais. Oh yeah, that guy. I'm pretty sure Allison killed him in, I think, the first chapter, right? And also, 10 out of 10 grammar. Let me fix that for you. The person was named Do Not Access due to a failed experiment, and his name was Allais. You see how easy that was, Tyler? What the fuck were they teaching you in school back then, bro? Anyways, as Allison accessed his root code and got him to wake up and get him online, He set a targeting system on it and made it specifically target Lloyd. Oh no. LA's vent system kept malfunctioning, and it made him become extremely violent and aggressive. LA then charged through the halls and crawled as fast as he could through the vents, like some kind of zombie on a hunger rampage. And then, as LA made it to floor number... I mean, technically he is a fucking zombie on a hunger rampage. LA is dead, isn't he? Or, wait, no. They were trying to bring him back, so I'm gonna assume that they put his body in some kind of stasis to where it wouldn't decompose. Anyways, for the sake of my own sanity, I probably shouldn't question it too much. This is the infamous Return to Freddy's novel. Literally nothing makes sense in this bit, so... As LA made it to floor number 1, Lloyd saw the thing he once tested on. Lloyd could feel nothing but fear and a shock of paranoia flow through his veins. LA saw Lloyd standing there in the office. He was eager to rip every bone in his body. As LA charged and crawled towards the office, Lloyd quickly shut the office door and opened the Gilbert facility shelter hatch below the office. As the latch opened like a vault of some sort, he climbed down into the ladder and closed the latch above him. He went into the Gilbert facility's subtunnel train subway system and stepped into the train. He activated the train using his ID card, and the train's tunnel navigation system then asked for a destination somewhere in 3 different locations underground. He chose a location where they pack extra supplies in crates. In other words, the storage supply room. The train had been moving for the past 3 minutes, and it didn't take long at all to reach its destination. Lloyd had felt the urge to fall asleep. You see how this motherfucker spelled urge? Lloyd had felt the urge to fall asleep. His body felt weaker and weaker as the medicine started to kick in. What medicine? That medicine that he took to not die from toxicity? It apparently has a side effect where it causes drowsiness. Interesting. Anyways, as the train stopped and blew its final whistle, he woke up from his urge to sleep. He misspelled urge again. Rushed to get into the supply room where he felt more safer than ever. He ran behind the desk and just lied there for several hours, hyperventilating. I mean, like, goddamn, Tyler, what did you write this shit with? If you had used a program like Microsoft Word, or hell, even Google Docs, both of those two have built-in spelling correctors. Either one of those two could have helped you out with this egregious spelling problem that you had when you wrote this shit. Anyways, he looked across from him to see a large kitchen knife. He could either just end his life here and now or save the company's reputation by making him die a hero. Doing so would save the kids' project. He grabbed a propane tank, misspelled propane by the way, carried it with him until he heard loud noises rampaging through the vents. The noises were from right to left. He could feel a cold chill down his neck from all the fear that is flowing through him. Lloyd looked to see a handgun on the metal shelf to his right. He said, "What the fuck is a gun doing in this facility?" I mean, I guess for situations like this, it could really come in handy. I just answered my own question. The ventilation noises got louder and louder until it came to a stop. Then, Lloyd stood there in silence for the longest time with his finger on the trigger. The silence grew more and more. Lloyd felt as if he was gone, and then Lloyd put the handgun back into his pocket and turned around to leave. But just then, the vent popped open, and LA lunged towards Lloyd and pounced him. Lloyd was trying to get him off, but LA grabbed a rusty metal pipe and jabbed it into his arms and legs, pinning him to the ground. He pinned his arms and legs to the ground with one rusty metal pipe, or did he break that motherfucker into 4 pieces? Because there's no way you can pin somebody's arms and legs to the ground with one fucking metal pipe, bro. That don't make no sense. Lloyd could do nothing but tear up and scream for his life. He quickly pointed the gun at the propane tank and shot it before he could bleed out, missing the chance to end LA's out-of-control life. As the propane tank exploded, the blast radius hit the other propane tanks, destroying the storage supply room, along with LA and Lloyd. Allison realized that LA's online signal just went offline. He stood there slowly grinning and laughing, and probably also twiddling his mustache too, I imagine. He was sick to the head to laugh at somebody killing themselves. You don't say. It was a day later when the rest of the scientists arrived to go back to work, and when they entered the building, they saw the damage that had been done. It wasn't any of their day at all. The police were around at the time they saw the damage, and filed a report to shut down the facility for good, along with everything contained in the building. Patient 20, Fairy Tale Ty, was shut down as well, along with Patient 848, aka Coley, and Patient 63, aka Sally. Allison's job was done. He finally got what he wanted. Ownership over a leading company, shutting down the former leading company, killing Lloyd and Alay, even though Alay was already technically dead. Everything is going as he planned. That's right, folks. It's all according to Keikaku, alright? For those of you who don't know, Keikaku means plan in Japanese. Back in America, Allison was getting older and older every year, but the code Radsla kept him from ever dying. The only way he could die is if he was crushed alive or stabbed in the heart. What the fuck is the cold Radsla? I forgot. It's probably the fucking 90% immortality drink. Which doesn't make any sense. Like, what the fuck do you mean 90% immortality? It's either you're immortal or you're not, as somebody pointed out in the comments, so I don't know. Alright, so I know I said I was only going to read 2 chapters and then tap out, but since I'm a nice guy, I want to throw in an extra chapter. This chapter right here, chapter 5, it doesn't seem like it's that long, so I'm going to persevere through this novel, if you can even call it that, which I damn sure can't, for just one more chapter, okay? So bear with me. It was September 4th, 1985. Oh, we got a time skip. At a new restaurant ran by, once again, Fazbear Inc.'s 10 out of 10 grammar, recently opened up called Fredbear's Family Diner. A new owner ran the restaurant. It was Vincent. So Vincent is running a restaurant whose parent company is run by a psychopath that almost killed him and his friend Gron, and then actually did kill Gron's wife, and then drove Gron himself and his son to suicide. Vincent used to work for this guy, mind you. He got chased off the premises. Him and Gron got chased off the premises after they found something that they weren't supposed to. And now he's back working for this guy, this nutcase, again. Huh? Like, damn. I mean, I guess in this story, nobody ever learns their fucking lesson. Interesting. So the new owner ran the restaurant. It was Vincent. And the new restaurant was a success. They had many new characters to show off on the stage, such as Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Kitty Fazcat 2.0, and Sugar the Cat, as well as Doug the Dog and the Puppet. They had the old animatronics in the back room for storage and safekeeping. The only suit that was ever left in there was old Frankbert. And as the days went by, the popularity of the restaurant grew more day by day. They had no one to take the night shift yet, but due to the popularity of the restaurant, they needed someone to take the job as a security guard. About a day later on September 5th, a guy named Jefferson was hired to take the night shift. Jefferson was an alright employee. He hasn't really been doing his job. Instead, he goes out of his office and plays the arcade machines while eating the leftover stale pizza in the employee's lunch fridge. That's fucking gross. The fuck? Meanwhile, with Allison, he was planning a little trip to meet an old friend's youngest son, Jackson. Jackson, Gron's youngest son. Oh, okay. The only survivor of Gron's family. Jackson, I'm pretty sure, yeah. Gron did have a younger son, didn't he? And he was sent to a foster family. It's all coming back to me, I remember now. Anyways, that motherfucker was all grown up. He had a son of his own, but was in a divorce a couple years back. Jackson could feel something rising before him, and it wasn't a good feeling. Jackson was worried about the fate of him and his son, Carson. Allison looked through the phone book, found Jackson's address. He knew all about Jackson through Gron, his last name, favorite food. Allison brought a gun with him. He hated Gron and his family ever so dearly. Allison drove all the way up to his address, walked up the steps, knocked on the door. Jackson then snapped out of his worrying daydream and was wondering who would want to knock on his door. I mean, goddamn, I can't imagine hating somebody so much to where you want to wipe out their entire fucking bloodline. What the fuck? Anyways, Jackson was wondering who would want to knock on his door and visit him. He wasn't expecting any visitors. If you get a knock on the door and you're not expecting anything, any visitors, any packages or anything like that, put your guard up. Immediately, okay? Your survival instinct should be kicking in. You need to go take a peek out there. Don't open the door yet. Look out the window. Look through the peephole. See who the fuck is there. See what's up. Don't just open the door, okay? But that doesn't apply to Jackson because he's fucking stupid. Because he went and opened the door without looking. He opened the door to see a man with a white fedora and a red trench coat. Allison smiled menacingly. Jackson then said, hello. Who might you be? Allison then introduced himself and said, I know all about you. As a matter of fact, I knew your biological father. Jackson was curious and wanted to know more, so in response, he let the motherfucker into his house. Yeah, he's about to get killed. Straight up. Jackson then said, please, do tell me more. Oh, and please make yourself at home. We have coffee made and other things if you ever want anything. So you just let this strange, sketchy-looking motherfucker with a fedora and a trench coat into your home, smiling menacingly, twiddling his fucking mustache. Okay, well, if anything happens to you, Jackson, that's completely on you. The red flags were all there, and you just chose to ignore them. So, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Anyways, where was I? We have coffee made and other things if you ever want anything. Allison then replied with, "Thank you, but I'm fine." And as Allison was telling Jackson all about his biological father, Gron, he then said, "You and your family left a mark in my life, and that mark has changed my life forever, and I would like to return the favor." Jackson was confused, until Allison pulled out a pistol and shot Jackson right in the center of his forehead. Allison then chuckled and said, "Thank you for the drink, by the way. You have a lovely home." Allison then left the house, went back to his car. Going back to Fazbear Inc., Carson was at school at the time, but when the school bus arrived home, he came back to see his father shot, blood all over the ground, and a dented bullet shell on the ground. Carson ran up to his father's corpse, hugging it in tears. He ran up to his neighbor's house, asking them for help and that his father had been shot. The neighbors called the police, and the sheriff went up to Carson and hugged him, and the sheriff said, "Shh, it's gonna be okay, kid. We're here. I'll take you to the police department and we'll settle things out. Do you know where your mother is?" Carson could only reply with, "My mom and dad split up a couple years back. We couldn't get a hold of her since." The sheriff then looked at Carson with disappointment and guilt and sorrow, and then the neighbor came up to the sheriff and said, "We'll take care of him." The sheriff allowed it, and the neighbor took him in as her own. A couple of years have passed. It's the day of September 27th, 1987. Vincent had just found out about Jefferson's night shift behavior, and it wasn't acceptable. Oh yeah, Jefferson was bullshitting around, went outside of his office and was playing a bunch of arcade machines and eating stale pizza instead of actually doing his job. Vincent went up to Jefferson and said, "Hey, yo, Jefferson, we need to talk. Come with me." And usually, when your boss personally walks up to you and he's like, "Hey man, we need to talk. Come with me for a second," that's a huge red flag. That means you're probably about to get fired. So Jefferson had a confused look on his face, but he followed his manager anyways. Vincent then took him to his office and discussed his actions during the night shift. "Jefferson, we can't have a night guard taking the night shift if you're not even going to do your job as you're told." Jefferson looked upset and responded, "What? What are you talking about? I've been doing my job, and no one's been around." Vincent then laughed with sarcasm and said, "Oh really? Then why in the security camera tapes do I see you wandering off and playing with the arcade machines? You sure are doing your job, Jeff. Go on. I'd like to hear more about your night shift for the past couple of years. Was it nice to not do your job and yet get a paycheck anyways?" Jefferson then gulped and started to sweat from being nervous. I'm sorry, sir. I'll never do it again." Vincent then replied with, "Damn right you'll never do it again, because you're fired." Jeff was like, "Wait, what? But sir." Vincent could only erupt saying, "Get out of my damn office, Jeff. You're fired, and that's that." Jefferson stood there for a moment as he slowly left the office and closed the door. He could only sit down on the ground with his head leaned back against the wall, taking out his phone and calling his wife. "Hey, hon, I'm, gonna be home early." No. I'll explain when I get home. Yeah, love you too. Bye." As he hung up, he left work to go back home. Vincent felt frustration that not even one person could do his job, and yet he was getting paychecks. It was a day shift and the families were coming in to have a great time with their kids. The animatronic band was playing. Kids' laughter was heard. It was the happiest place on earth. It made Vincent smile and feel good inside to feel all the positive energy surrounding Fredbear's. But then Vincent heard a voice whispering in his head. It sounded as if a child was right next to him. Vincent looked around, but there was no one talking to him. Vincent then saw a little boy across from him just staring at him. It looked like his best friend Gron as a child. He remembered because Vincent and Gron had been friends for all he can remember. The child wore a black fedora, a light blue shirt, and some jeans. Vincent thought this was absolutely crazy. The prophecy won't end until somebody stops Allison. The child started whispering, "Come with me. Come with me." The child then leaned his head towards Vincent. Vincent then got off his chair with the blankest expression on his face, as if he was possessed or if he saw a ghost. He couldn't control his body. It just kept moving towards the child that he was hallucinating. Vincent then held the child's hand. as if it was his own. He walked down the dark corridor towards the parts and service room, and when they got there, Vincent realized what he had been doing and snapped out of his senses, but yet still see the ghost child. Vincent then said, "What the fuck? Why is my phone going off? It's 3 in the fucking morning." I'm back, sorry about that. So anyways, Vincent was like, No, please, go away. What are you?" Vincent then started throwing punches at the ghost child, doing everything he could to make it go away. Kicked it in the gut, punched it through. Oh, damn. We're punching kids now? Ghost children? Okay. Kicked it in the gut, punched it, threw it, abused it all over. It started crying, limping, bleeding all the way towards the Frank Burt animatronic. It was hiding in there to keep itself safe, and as the child was crying, the lockjaw suit torture mechanism activated due to the tears getting into the wire circuits and blowing a fuse. Awesome spelling, by the way. That's not how you spell circuits. The suit had a system error, and then the needles went from head to toe, draining every bit of blood and organs inside out and using it as fuel for the suit to have new life. The ghost child how the fuck is this thing spring locking and killing a ghost? Somebody that's already dead. Anyways, the ghost child struggled to escape, but it was all futile in the end. Even though, you know, he's a ghost, he could have just used his fucking supernatural power to phase through the spring-locked suit. I thought he was gonna possess the damn thing and make it kill Vincent, but I guess not. Instead, he's gonna go in there and get spring-locked, get his blood drained from head to toe, even though that's not possible because he's already a ghost. He's already dead. Tried to headbutt his way out of the suit, but instead just made a hole in the mouth area of the Frank Burt animatronic head. Vincent's vision of the ghost child then went away, and then he realized that the ghost child he was trying to make go away wasn't a ghost child at all. Oh, damn, never mind, I take back everything I just said. It was an innocent young little boy who wore a red and blue striped shirt. Vincent stood there, staring at the dead body, tearing up on his eyes, and then he fell to his knees crying. What have I done? I'm so sorry. Why couldn't I see that it was a real child sooner? How am I ever going to move on from this? And as Vincent was crying, he had the idea to leave the body as it was. It looked like a normal animatronic, with or without the body inside. Vincent then left the parts and service room to go back into the main room. Bro's like, yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it in there. I think it's probably going to be okay. Even though it's not. You know, it looks normal from the outside, with or without the kid inside, but you realize that kid is going to decompose in there, and it's going to smell, and now everybody's going to fucking know there's a dead body in there. Damn, why is everyone in this story so dumb? Anyways, the employees taking the day shift saw Vincent and walked up to him in concern. Boss, are you okay? Vincent then looked at him with fear and replied, yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'm just getting a little emotional from all the joy surrounding the restaurant. That's all. Hey, can you put a now hiring sign out in front of the door so we can find somebody to take the night shift again? Day shift employee Nathan replied, sure thing, boss. And then right when Nathan grabbed the sign from the supply closet, somebody walked up to Nathan and asked a question. Hey, are you hiring? I'm Kenneth Kotz, which is Scott Cawthon backwards, by the way. Tyler, you really think you're slick? Come on now. Nathan replied, I'm Nathan. Nice to meet you. Also, yes, we are hiring. Would you like to apply? Kenneth replied, yes, please. I'm looking for a job anyways, and this seems to be the perfect place to have a job. Nathan then chuckled. Yeah, this place is absolutely wonderful. If you want to apply, the manager is right over there. Nathan pointed towards the manager's office. Kenneth walked towards the manager's office with all that swag. Walked in there to see Vincent with his head over his arms on the desk. Kenneth gently knocked on the door to get Vincent's attention. And as Vincent's head rose up, he saw a man standing in front of him. Vincent said, hey, how you doing? Vincent was like, hey, how can I help you? And then Kenneth replied, I'd like to apply for a job. Is there any opening spots available? And then Vincent nodded and said, why yes, we desperately need a security guard to take the night shift. How's that for you? Kenneth smiled and said, yes, that would be perfect. I'll make sure that everything is safe and sound. Vincent smiled too and knew this was the perfect guy to take the night shift. Vincent then said, all right, you're in, bud. Welcome to the family. Your shift starts tonight at 12 a.m. Vincent then turned behind him to open a drawer with a brand new spare security guard outfit. He then handed Kenneth several outfits to him. 10 out of 10 grammar. Gave Kenneth several outfits so that he has some spares at home. Kenneth then said, why thank you, sir. I won't let you down. Vincent then smiled and nodded. Fast forward to 12 a.m., first night of Kenneth's night shift as a security guard. The night was quiet. All he could hear was himself breathing, the light silently buzzing, and the crisp air. As hours passed, Conth was getting tired and was about to fall asleep. In the parts and service room, Frankbert came to life at last. The fuel had finally kicked in, and the child possessing the suit looked at his hands, saw that he was not human anymore, but instead an animatronic. He couldn't feel anything anymore. Well, anything except pain, that is. The child was confused as his soul left the suit, only to become a ghost child invisible to the human eye. He could anything to control now. What kind of broken-ass sentence is that? He wanted to speak to somebody, asking for help to let his move on. He couldn't live his life like this. I was being nice by throwing in an extra chapter, but I regret it after reading that shit. But I can't be too mad because I would have read it anyways the next time I read this shit, so yeah. Goodness fucking gracious, that was awful. But I already knew it was gonna be. Like, it's the return to Freddy's, the dreadful, super cancerous, make you die from head to toe, head-ass truth. Of course it's gonna be awful, but yeah. The final part will be coming whenever I get to it. I might as well finish this novel, you know? And it looks like it's setting up for the resolution to be Allison dying because the prophecy is tied directly to him somehow. I don't know how. I don't really care. A random-ass, mustache-twirling Saturday morning cartoon villain type mob boss that's gained 90% immortality. Can't wait to see how he gets killed off. I imagine the final battle against Allison is going to probably be the dumbest shit that we've all ever read before. In any media, in any fiction. So yeah, that should be fun. Anyways, before I end the video, I want to say thanks for 2,000 subscribers. That's the whole point of this video. It's a 2,000 subscribers special, if you couldn't tell by the title. Just a year ago, I hit 1K, and now I'm at 2K. We're moving. Let's see if we can make it to 3K now. And with that being said, I know for a fact that I've been rambling for long enough, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.